Good afternoon. I am Vanessa Thomas with the 4 o'clock news on the streets, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. In the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says supply chain clogs will have very serious ripple effect on TNT. The Education Minister reminds parents that children are required by law to go to school. The Environmental Management Authority announces moderate levels of air quality in TNT, and internationally Moscow partially shuts down as Russia sees record COVID cases. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley has confirmed that the global supply chain clogs at major US and UK ports will have a very serious ripple effect on the importation of goods to TNT. He said much of our life is import and export, so this is very serious for this country. Dr. Rowley was responding to questions about the importation of goods into the country as the world continues to be crippled by disrupted supply chains. According to international reports, the ports in Los Angeles are so clogged that up to yesterday, some 200,000 cargo ships were waiting to enter and offload. Other ports were facing much of the same situation, with long lines of cargo vessels waiting to offload, to load and to leave, but unable to move. It is estimated that the delivery of goods for the busy global Christmas season will be impacted, and consumers in the US and UK have been warned that it will be months before the situation is back to normal. Those international countries have also been warned of inflation that will see a steady increase in the cost of goods. Prime Minister Dr. Rowley said the same will happen here in TNT. The Prime Minister said freight costs have skyrocketed on the cost of imported food. He added that is why government has encouraged diet changes to involve local fresh produce, which is cheaper and much healthier. Meanwhile, Minister in the Ministry of Finance, Brian Manning, has added his concern and confirmed that the ministry was bracing for higher prices. Brian Manning, however, reminded that the Ministry of Finance chose to remove VAT and import duties on several staples or basic food items. Also, President of the Supermarket Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Rajiv Dipti, yesterday shared his frustration with the entire shipping disruptions. He says the shortages and delays at shipping ports across the US and UK will have a rippling effect for other countries, as these international countries will tend to themselves first. Dipti added that the industry has never had a year like this on record. Education Minister Dr. Nayan Gazwidoli is reminding parents and students that children are required to attend school by law. The statement came in response after several reports were received of parents refusing to send their children in forms 4 to 6 back out to school. In a WhatsApp response to Newsday, Gazwidoli said the system used for monitoring absent students would continue to be used, adding that students are required to attend school by law and absent students will be monitored through the Student Support Services. By law, parents whose children are of school age who neglect or refuse to allow them to go to school unless legally excused are liable to, on a summary conviction, to a fine of $75. The law also says that the magistrate can require the parents to give a bond of $300 with one or more sureties on the condition that the parent sends the child to school after 5 days. However, Gazwidoli confidently said she did not think those measures would be needed. The Environmental Management Authority has announced that the air quality level in Trinidad and Tobago is at moderate levels. The EMA notes an increase in particulate matter that is attributed to the Saharan dust. It is therefore advised that unusually sensitive individuals reduce heavy or prolonged outdoor activity. The EMA, through its National Ambient Air Quality Monitoring Network and Air Quality Index Program, continue to monitor the situation. Finally, on the international scene, Russia has reported record numbers of daily COVID-19 cases and deaths as Moscow shut down non-essential services for 11 days to fight the surge in infections. The country hardest hit in Europe by the pandemic, Russia has struggled with low vaccination rates despite developing several of its own jabs. Recent weeks have seen daily numbers of cases and deaths hit the highest of the pandemic, with the official government tally on Thursday reporting new records of 40,000 infections and 1,159 deaths in the past 24 hours. Authorities have shut down all non-essential services in the capital of Moscow from Thursday until November 7th. Retail outlets, restaurants, and sporting and entertainment venues are all closed, along with schools and kindergartens. Only shops selling food, medicine, and other essentials are allowed to reopen. Russians have proven stubbornly resistant to being inoculated. As of Thursday, only 32% of Russia's population had been fully vaccinated. And that was the 4 o'clock news on the street, 919 FM, and online Facebook and YouTube. Recapping the headlines, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says supply chain clogs will have very serious ripple effect on TNT. The Education Minister reminds parents that children are required by law to go to school. The Environmental Management Authority announces moderate levels of air quality in TNT, and internationally Moscow partially shuts down as Russia sees record COVID-19 cases. Do enjoy your afternoon and continue to be safe. I am Vanessa Thomas. Aisha Wells, she's already in the building. She's up next.
News from the street. 919fm.com.
Welcome the Christmas holidays this year with quality and attractive furniture from Stylist Furniture Limited. 2 locations, 51 Rushwood Street, San Fernando, and 101 Crackness Village in Princestown. Select from a wide range of